How's it going, everybody? This is Mystic Ninja Soul. So, what we're doing here is we're doing a review of the early access game Unpossessed that I was playing on stream last night. Now, don't get me wrong, the game is good and all. It's 13.99, but it does have some definite shortcomings to it. There were a few times where I was in the game and there were some bugs that made it where I could not complete the mission. However, there are definitely elements in the game that do, give you that creepy vibe and everything. Now, I understand that this game is being developed by only one person, one developer, and everything like that. And that's where this game is having its shortfalls. Now, if you notice right here where I'm at, you play the monk, and now the kind of thing is like your hands are staying in front of you, and the run animation is just really, really strange, and you are actually, as well, very, very slow. So it doesn't give a whole, aesthetic, and not to mention this game is supposed to be taking place in the early 1900s. So I'm going to guess it's like um, 1933, somewhere around there. Now the downside about that is if he's trying to keep the developers trying to keep with the aesthetic, then some of the items in the vehicles are definitely not within that aesthetic because you look like you're coming from like 1902, 1903, somewhere around there with like when you look at stuff. And if that's the case, then the van that you're supposedly taking wouldn't exist. Like vans like that did not exist until maybe the 1960s. I'm like, okay, what time period are we in? Are we in the 1960s, early 1920s, 1933, somewhere around there? Now, I was playing a lot of the single player because I've never played this game as well, and it was my first playthrough. No, like I said, there were some elements where it's like, okay, you have to grab this, have to grab that. And I'm like, okay, I'm searching around the entire house that you're supposed to be investigating, and it was not there. Um, I did also try and go in there and do a multiplayer because this is a multiplayer game. Now, if you now, I will say one thing as well. The graphics aren't the best. They're very similar to Phasmophobia. The sound I turned down because I'm going to tell you, I turned that down so many times because it was freaking loud. No matter what I did, it's like the volume control did not work. And like I said, if you see right here, you're supposed to be in the 1900s, like early 1900s. You wouldn't have microphones like that, for one. You wouldn't have a headlamp like that, for one. You would more likely have, like, possibly a flashlight or a torch. And one of the items is a torch. So I was looking on here to kind of see, what you're supposed to do. And you basically have to go around and remove relics and demonic symbols or anything like that. Now that's where I came into the point with the bugs. There were some issues where there were some demonic symbols and everything like that, and it would not show up to where I could remove them because you have to find a cloth somewhere around the map, and it would not let me remove them. I found one. I'm like, okay, well, where's the second one? I went around the entirety of the house of this investigation, and it was not there, like at all. It was not there at all. So it's definitely one of these games that, even though it's in early development, early stages, all that stuff, um, it definitely needs quite a bit of work. And honestly, I'm at the point where I don't feel that this game is worth the 13.99 that you pay for it. This is a game that I very well may refund and wait till there's a lot more improvement to. Um, because like I said, you like in this review in this video, because this is taken from my live stream last night. You will potentially see what was going on with that. I mean, it's just absolutely unbelievable what happened with it, where it's just like nothing was working as it was supposed to. And like I said, I do understand that this is an early access game, but if you're going to sit there and charge nearly $14 for a game, it should not have a crap ton of game breaking bugs to where you cannot complete the objectives within the game. And like I said, it's really weird how your hands are just outstretched like that. I mean, I don't see why they're not like at your side and only showing up when you run. Now, like I said, there were some very eerie encounters in the game that definitely, give some jump scares, but nothing like some of the other horror games that I've played. But I understand, they were done by some bigger developers and everything like that. Now, as you see here, I'm exploring the house. Like, okay, that goes there, and seeing what my objectives are. Okay, so I have to burn relics and rotate crucifixes. But like I said, some stuff is very hard to find, and like I never understood what the circle of candles and everything was for in the game. So it's definitely one of these things where it's like, okay. So I found the upside down crucifix. Now that's not hard to do. Now this one was this was the easiest one I found to do. Now there was one part like in the game where the subject that's being possessed gets attacked, right? Well, you're supposed to take the cross and you're supposed to basically stop the attack. Well, I guess the cross has a charge on it. Well, it didn't let me stop the attack. So I'm like, okay, well, that's a bit of a bug because the cross is supposed to um, have charges on there, but I think the charges are supposed to replenish. I don't know for a fact. And it would not let me stop the attack. So that was one bug. And because of it, I failed this mission alone probably about 3 or 4 times. So it's one of those things like, do I want to stay with playing this game? Do I want to keep it in my library or do I want to refund it and, get something completely different and basically cut my ties with it in a way? So I'm at that point right now, and I'm not 100% sure where I sit with the game. So I'm in between, but at this point I don't feel that at its present. I'm trying to think of the word. Iteration. There we go. Iteration is that this game is not worth the 13.99, and that's where I'm going to stand.